A big new study at Montclair State University in New Jersey has found that people growing up now think the world is more dangerous than every previous generation in modern history. We are more scared, the people growing up right now, more scared of the world than any other generation has been in, again, modern history. So what, we're talking at least 100 years, you would say?
I'd say so.
So what they basically asked a bunch of people that would be considered Gen Zers, how much they're concerned about certain risks with life right now. And what they found was the nervousness, the anxiety about these risks is much higher for Gen Z than it was at the same time period for previous generations. Like you go back to millennials when they were growing up, not as afraid. Baby boomers, obviously, not as afraid. But here's the kicker. The world is actually, like a lot of these risk factors they asked about, you're at less risk now than you would have been when you were growing up as a baby boomer or a millennial. So figure that one out.
There's a lot to handle for some people.
In other words, we're safer now, but we're more scared now.
Because I'm looking at numbers, right?
Yeah.
Because one of the big things is the people are afraid of is dying.
Yeah,
okay?
of course.
Being murdered.
Probably one
attacked.
of the top things I'm afraid of is not being alive.
And the rates, the murder rates, since a long time have been going down.
Yep.
Kind of crazy.
That's good news.
It is. It's great news. Why are we not celebrating?
Maybe people just aren't hearing that enough.
People aren't.
That's actually...
People think probably, if I asked people, if we did a survey of 100 people, a RIOT survey.
Across generations.
Across generations, do you think between, let's say, just 1990 to now, do you think there are more or less murders per year?
Yeah.
I feel like most people would say more.
Probably.
You have to think so, right?
Yeah. But what's interesting, I think, is that's unique to our time now, where in 1990, if you ask people, are there more or less murders than there were in the 60s or whatever, they might not be as likely to say, there's definitely more murders now, even though actually, in that case, might have been true. So, yeah, what they theorize here in this study is that since we're constantly bombarded with news headlines on our phone, we're seeing stuff on social media all the time, it's more likely that the stuff you're seeing is negative, which just reinforces the thoughts that there's so much negative going on that you are more unsafe because there's so much more risk in the world. They also say, though, that they think that us growing up now tend to see things more black and white, as in either something's dangerous or it's safe. Where the truth is, if you're leaving your house, depending on where you're going, there's a whole wide range of where you're going. Is it safe? Is it unsafe? It's not just, yes, it's safe. Yes, it's dangerous. It's 70%. There's a range but we're not very good at calculating that anymore or considering that. It's all yes or no answers.
And the answer for everyone right now is they are in danger.
Yeah.
Constant danger. But if you look back, if you want to know when you were really in danger, you were really in danger back in the 1980s.
Yeah.
When yet again, homicides, murders, twice as much as now.
Yeah.
Twice. Isn't that crazy? Twice.
Yeah.
Between the 70s and 80s, since 2001, the numbers have been just about steady the same. All the way to 2023. It's been about the same. The lowest year was 2014. At its lowest, when you were in the least amount of danger. But even then, it was still very comparable to right now.
It's crazy.
But back in the 70s to 90s, danger.
Think about this. If you just the way you view it could be a positive or negative. Is that we consume so much true crime right now. It's a popular thing, right? But if you focus especially on the serial killers, think about all the serial killer stories that you hear. There aren't any serial killers nowadays, are there?
Not that I can, not with any crazy names.
Yeah, back in the day, there's the Stranglers and the,
The Zodiac.
yeah. I don't even know. I'm gonna start making some up, but all the serial killers are from like the 80s. They're not from the 2020s. We got to be safe, but because you're constantly listening to stuff about being killed, makes you think you might be more likely to be killed.
That's why you listened to the riot and said, "We'll set
That's right.
straight."
We're telling you the good news.
You're safe.
You're safe.
Go out there. If you like that video, there's a ton more. Go check out our past videos and subscribe so you don't miss what we do next.